Welcome to South Harmon.
We live, rocking the double deuces. Double deuces tonight on Wednesday Night AMA. How's everyone doing? So glad you could join us. Adam, what up, man? I love that creamsicle,
What up, man?
by the way.
Your creamsicle's in. I got something to show you guys here in a little bit, but don't just do it right away. You don't just show them right off the rip. Speaking of which, though, I see Mike's. He's got the last year's version, Ohio State. Got the NFL version. Mike, listen, we're going into week 5, and the season. This is the same thing every year. Much different results, but the way in which it feels like you cannot wait for football to get here. Not that I'm mad that it's here. I'm ecstatic it's here. I'm having a blast, but it's flying by quicker than you expect. Going into week 5 already seems crazy.
It's flying by quicker than we expect, right? It's going fast. And 2, it only took a matter of weeks before the injuries, the disappointment, the shitty play, everything. I'm glad the season's here, but am I the only one that too? It's like, fuck, man.
No, absolutely not. Well, let's just start off with the obvious. What's up?
This is the one reason why I play Dynasty. The one reason why I play Dynasty, because from like January to like July, chef's kiss, right? All we do is talk about rookies and value and strategy and team building. Then you get to actual football, and it's like we come in where you remember that old meme? I was like that the kid in he's in like this little toddler like chair or whatever, and he's like all happy and bouncing around, and then he just gets that look on his face of pure fear.
Yeah, everything's bad. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that always feels like me. It's like, oh, fuck. No. What did we do? What did I wish for?
Yeah, well,
that's us. Week 5 already.
Yeah, listen, it wasn't really a bold call necessarily. As part of money moves, I was like, there's not that many injuries to the position in general, any positions. Well, as soon as you do that, though, and you start putting yourself in that mix, of course, Mike, the guy you've been riding and standing for this entire time, he's going to get hurt, and that's Malik Nabers. So he starts with it feels like, I don't know if he wasn't really the first or the start, but it felt like he was kind of one of the big dominoes to fall, so to speak, and a lot have been falling since. Let's just talk about it, buddy. There's not really much to talk about. It sucks. The ACL tore it.
Gut-wrenching, man.
I was the first in the Discord, and not that there's any pride in that, to say shit. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, this is not good. This is really not good. As soon as you see it, I'm fearing the worst. And I don't know that we got confirmation yet that it's the worst. We can't really, but we know it's at least a torn ACL. What are your thoughts? And other than RIP to the season this year, what are your thoughts?
I hate too that I immediately start pivoted to you go shit and you go fuck and this is terrible and damn it, all the bad things, you want to throw things, but then immediately go to, all right, how the hell do I get my contending teams out of this mess now? Like, how do I pivot off of Malik Nabers into something else? I acted pretty quick in a few leagues, Adam, but one of the most devastating ones, I ended up trading him away for a package that included Trey Benson, only to find out today Trey Benson also going to the IR. Not season ending for now. Now.
It's 4 to 6 weeks. Got a little cleanup. They both are going under the knife, and they both have surgery. But
dude, there's people out there too who teared down off of Malik Nabers on contending teams to Tyreek Hill, only to see his foot face the other direction on Monday night and went, God damn it.
Well, let's just go ahead then. You want to? How about we do? How about we kill 2 birds with one stone? We can. Does that work out for you?
2 legs with one show.
Well, no, he's gone, but it's interesting. And let me just, for your sake too, Mike, I wanted to put him up there because of receiver, but if you really want to feel bad, here's who Mike traded Malik Nabers for. Mike, let me ask you this. We didn't talk about
a package that included him.
Well, unfortunately, I don't have picks. I should get those generically to go up here anyway, but before we talk about your package, I'm sure everyone wants to see you talk about Mike's package,
It's looking girthy these days.
These injuries, right? You got season ender for Leak, season ender for Reek, and you've got IR stint for Trey Benson. Let me ask you this. Malik Nabers right now, going back to the situation, if you have him and you haven't moved him, because I think what typically happens is we have an injury and you're looking right away to solve the situation. And a lot of times with an injured player, I think the truth is the value tends to continue to go down over time. So with Malik Nabers, what are your thoughts? Aside from making the Trey Benson, which feels like it's insult to injury, if you had him here and you're on a team that has Malik Nabers and you are a contender, what's the way you're approaching it? What are you looking for in return? Are you looking to trade him now? Do you want to wait? What's your thoughts overall?
The easiest one to do is to go into draft picks, right, and just bank those draft picks and then use them as you see fit as you try to manage this as you go forward. So I would say for me, it's not going to be easy to get done, right? Like right off the rip. But 2 firsts, you give me 2 firsts for my Malik Nabers. Like I don't give a shit if mid to late, whatever the hell you want to call them. Give me those 2 firsts. I'm just going to bank the picks, and then I'm going to use them over the next couple weeks as I kind of ride this out and see how it goes. Other than that, I see a lot of people trying to go like 1-for-1 deals within the same range.
Here's Geist puts in here Jabers. I tried to just put JSN and Nabers in at the same time. I try to say it at the same time. JSN or Nabers. If
you can get this kind of 1-for-1 deal, you just take it. You just take it as a contender, right? Like you take the JSN, say thank you very much. I think it's a gift. There's a lot of more savvy dynasty managers out there who won't let that happen. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I'm not saying it is impossible. There will be people, Jabers. There will be people who will get it done. But like going to a Rome straight up, Drake London, Emeka Egbuka, JSN, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra. Heaven forbid it's a Jefferson or something like that. Kind of depending on where people are at with him and what's going on at Chase. Well,
so Bricky just acquired Nabers and a first for Jefferson on a rebuild.
Perfect.
Yeah, but I mean, now this
on
is one
the
of the things I will
side.
say. Yeah, I will say this: if you're in the position to try and acquire Nabers, I think honestly, Mike, I would be as a rebuilder, right? If you're in the position to acquire Nabers, I assume you're not a contender. I'm not saying you wouldn't be able to, but you'd have to have just embarrassment of riches. You want to be the person trying to acquire Nabers right now more often than not. Now, if you have them on a contender, that's kind of what we're talking about more. So, how do you try to navigate that? As we have a super chat though too as well.
Look at this, man. Simon, what up? Thanks, Simon.
Cash going crazy, buddy.
It is.
Hey, bros. Falling. Contender lost 2 wide receivers. It's a 12-team start, 11 PPR. Trade Nabers plus Tyreek for Wilson, Worthy, and Bill. I'm assuming that's Lil Bill.
Easy.
You would do that? Okay. I think
unless that's Russ. just point that out there. There are 2 Wilsons.
I think getting off of Tyreek to Worthy is the big reason why I would do this.
Massive.
I'm really not thrilled to go from Nabers to Garrett Wilson, but I'm also like, when I'm getting back Worthy for Tyreek. Tyreek was already an aging asset, right? If you get to go off of him as an injured asset to Worthy, I think just value-wise, that part makes up a lot. I will say, though, go ahead.
The real thing with Tyreek, when you talk about that and why that's so massive is, I mean, it's a devastating knee injury for Tyreek, a guy whose game is built on speed and acceleration. Yeah, but, I mean, it looked like he tore everything. You can't.
Well, yeah, you dislocate it. You dislocate your knee, and it's one of the hardest to come back from. A lot of people were talking about.
The conversation you got to start having with Tyreek is his career over, right? Like the instant reaction you started to have when James Conner suffered his injury, when Najee Harris suffered his injury. Like, is this a career ender? And even if it's not a career ender, what does it look like when he comes back? Like, not good at all, like almost worth nothing. So to get off of him for anything substantial, anything more than like a fourth at this point, like that's a win.
Yeah. I think so to go to the point you were talking about earlier, but to answer the question here, I think, Simon, I probably would do this. I want to get back to the holistic conversation about Nabers, but if I have both here in a start 11, I think you're very unlikely to have the ability to like contend losing both of those guys and keep in the mix of possibly getting a bye or being where you want to be as a contender. So that part, Worthy and getting off of Tyreek to go to Worthy and go to Lil Bill is probably going to make up for whatever you think of the other part of the deal, right? I mean, Garrett Wilson, why not? Maybe the upside of Nabers is definitely still a top 15 dynasty asset. I think this is a smart move, and it's start 11 for sure.
Definitely doing that one.
To the point, real quick, of you were talking about moving off of Nabers for the picks, right?
Yeah.
And I guess if we're moving Nabers, right, let's talk about it from the standpoint. Let's just start from the beginning. If we're talking about moving off of Nabers as a contender, right, the idea is you want to move off of him. Or what is the reason? You want to get points in your lineup, right? Probably at some point.
Yes.
So if you do it for the picks, which I'm not actually against at all, as you know, picking up picks. The one thing I think about if I'm moving Malik Nabers, I think it's probably going to be a little more format dependent, to be honest with you. If I'm in a best ball league, right, I don't think it's really all that close. I'm looking to move off of him very soon, right? Because the way you roster construct in best ball and the way in best ball already, that's the format where you don't have to have the elite receivers anyway, right? You can basically just fill up a ton of whoever and still get away with really good points in best ball. In a lineup league, start 11 like we just had on the screen, I'm probably a little more willing to move on because at the moment, just because, like, listen, you got to start 11 players, and we're just getting to bye weeks here, right? The thing about it in a start 9, let's say, right? Now, depending on what I can get in the return. If I can get out for pretty elite prices, Mike, I think I would do that. The reason I'm not, like, super itching to do it is I think a lot of times when we're trying to solve, plug and play production from Malik Nabers, I think you can find a way to do that cheaply. Meaning, what does Cortland Sutton cost? I think you can find a way to grab a receiver that isn't going to cost me even probably a full first or maybe one first at tops, right? But what is really Malik Nabers going to end up being as a contender? As teams are decidedly out of the mix, you know what they're going to want more than 26 picks more than likely? Malik Nabers. Basically what he actually does to me in my mind, if I'm being diligent about this, he forces me to keep them packaged together. Malik's probably going to be worth 2 first all year to the rebuilding side. So I think for me, it's not that I want to keep him on my contenders. I just want to keep him right now. The same idea how I have draft picks. I want to have draft picks down the road when it means more to trade them. So I think right now, typically, you're going to see an asset that's going to probably decline. It'll be interesting to see how it goes for him because he wasn't really penciled in. I had him as wide receiver 1, but he wasn't quite proven as much as Jefferson or as Chase, where we know that value is basically stuck, right? It's not going anywhere. So it'll be interesting to see how he moves. But I just envision him being in the range of worth 2 first. And I think a lot of times as we get closer, people that are worried about 26 picks probably won't be as worried about Malik Nabers.
The one thing I will say about getting the picks now, heading into week 5 and trying to do it now, is they're not as clear on where they're going to land as they're going to be, if you wait till week 12, for example. You wait till week 12, then people are starting to go, well, yeah, this is going to be pick 3. This is going to be pick 4, and they're less inclined to move it, right? I'm going to wait until the draft time because this deal's still going to be, around there. But me as a contender, I don't want to do that deal after we get past the season anyways. If I made it through the whole season and nobody let me get off of Malik Nabers for something, then fuck it, he's staying on my roster. Kiss my ass. Now I'm going to ride the value back up. Doing it now, you have that chance of somebody who's, maybe sitting in what is actually going to be pick 4 and getting something else off their team. And they're like, well, this is a mid pick, right? That's how they're viewing it right now. You get another player off the roster and say you get a first or something like that. You get a first and a second added onto it, even if it is a Cortland Sutton, a first and a second for your Malik Nabers, which kind of seems gross now. We get towards the later in the season when that pick starts to actually have a real value attached to it for the other rebuilders, where they're like, yeah, that is fucking pick 3, right? Or it's moved up to pick 2. Now they become even more inclined to, send you bigger hauls for it. You know what I'm saying?
The pick?
If I do it now, yeah. If I do it now and kind of pocket that thing, I have a chance at that actually gaining a little bit more value here over the next, handful of weeks when I want to actually spend it.
Well, let's talk about that, actually. That's a great illustration. I'm glad you went that route because what's going to be worth more, you think, going end of the year? Malik Nabers or what is considered the 101, the 102 in the class?
It's going to be close. It's going to be close because we're going to start to get that hype building, right? Like we're early enough in the college football season. We're still into this. Hey, this class doesn't look that good, but we're starting to take some shape of some players that are becoming pretty fucking interesting, right? Like Jeremiah Love going out there and balling like he did this past week, like that kind of stuff. Jordan Tyson doing what he's doing. What if we do get our boy Lenore Sellers starts cooking here during SEC play and putting it up? And unfortunately, my Hawkeyes had to experience this, but now we got Mr. Mendoza from Indiana getting first-round buzz. And I see there's a new favorite for the 101 in the draft next year, and it's the quarterback out of Indiana. We're starting to get to that point of the college football season where these are going to be like household names as soon as we start to get a Heisman race that kind of evens out and clears up. It's tough to say. It really is. And I know the easy answer is it's Malik by a long shot, but the 101 or the 102?
It's not that tough to say. Malik, right?
Okay.
It's not. Nobody cares about the 26 class, and it's definitely not even yet by the end of the year, the calendar year this year, right? Now, when we get closer to the draft, I think you're probably right. The 101 and the 102 have a much more chance. We'll have a much better feel of who those players are. But I'm just looking right now, right? 26 versus behind the 27 first. But even if you said that, the early ones, it's behind Garrett Wilson. It's behind Tyler Warren. We're still in point scoring season, right? In the end of the year. So that's where, to me, like the reason I'd rather keep Malik Nabers than a situation like that is, to me, I'd rather keep Malik and figure out what Cortland Sutton costs to go buy outright. Right? That's what I would much rather do there. And then Malik Nabers kind of keeps me in a package range. So what also could happen is, what if Sutton gets hurt now? Now you've really bled value and you have that one pick, and you're probably going to want to try to figure out what that pick can buy you. And you're probably going to buy something that's worth a late first mid-season at some point. To me, I think there's a chain reaction of actually potentially, when you get players in the mix, having the exact same variance happen to you. And Malik Nabers, I think, is going to give you a chance to sell a player that's going to be a top 20 asset, right, in the season at some point. So that's where, to me, I think a lot of players I want to move off of right away. I'm not saying I don't want to move off of him, but I'm going to be picky about my return because I'm not like panicked. And if your team right now without Malik Nabers is 100% not a contender, then maybe you're better off holding on to him. Yeah, I hope you have your pick though. But like, I just don't think buying a player right now, which all these players have variants and issues that could happen with injury, on a big discount is worth it today. Maybe as we get into more bye weeks and stuff like that, you have to figure out what you're going to do. But in a shallow lineup league, right? Start 9, start 10. It's all about consolidation. These are the assets that are always going to be one of the more, desired ones. Everyone wants to go get a player like Malik Nabers.
They do. But I will say, a healthy Malik Nabers heading into the season after the rookie year he had was only 3 picks and startup value higher than the 101 this past year.
Sure. Right?
And now you add into it recovery time, ACL, major knee injury. Like you said, we don't know the full extent of it. How, if it was multi-ligament, that changes a hell of a lot too.
Sure.
Like how does that recovery come back? I'm just saying, I think there's going to be a realistic conversation when you get towards the end of the season about who's going to be valued more, because even him being fully healthy heading into this year after a great rookie season was still right around the conversation. I mean, that's 3 picks differences. People are doing toss-ups on who they'd rather take.
Well, for sure. But you're also talking about information from May, right? Like the 101 wasn't going in December, let's say, right? Or November as 3 assets different than Malik. And also the bigger thing is, the reason I was using that illustration, even let's say they're close. Let's just dismiss and let's pretend that they're going to be close regardless, whether that's right or wrong, okay? Just for the sake of argument. When you're getting 2 picks, like you were talking about, or a pick, the 101's the best case scenario. So let's say it's the 104 you were talking about prior. Like, Malik is going to be more valuable than basically almost every pick that you could have outside of potentially a tie with, being close with the 101 or the 102, which it's now, if you think there's a chance it's a top 3 pick, Mike, that's a totally different conversation. I would potentially move on from him there if I'm getting more than just that. But more often than not, you're looking at penciled in late picks. That I probably wouldn't do, because he still, in essence, is value protected and kind of operates as value insulation in an elite form. So that's where, to me, I would rather hold on to him in a lot of places than what I'm seeing sometimes in the market where it feels like people are just kind of getting rid of him to get production right now, which is kind of the whole idea when you think about it. I'm just kind of viewing him as the value installation of draft picks. I can't use it as like picks. I just can't put him in my lineup right now.
Gotcha. Yep. We have the super chat here, and here it is. I don't know why the same damn thing comes on with all the money going crazy, but hey, money's flying. 10 teams, Mike, your favorite. Got to give Jake at least one because he put in the chat over-under on how many times I'd complain about it being 10 teams.
Oh, so nice.
There's your first.
Jake, there's one. Let's see how many times we get. Start 10. That's pretty shallow then. 1.5 tight end premium contender. T. Let me actually get Malik off the screen too because he's been up here for a while and he's not, I don't think, a part of this question. T, a 27 first, and Woody Marks. Or Henry, Jacobs, and Theo Johnson. And then where are we at on Woody? Okay, so do you want T, a 27 first, or Woody Marks? Or do you want King Henry, Jacobs, and Theo Johnson first and foremost?
T, the first, and Woody Marks.
Okay.
Theo Johnson's a nothing.
Theo Johnson's nothing. I think I'm trying to think about this just as the standpoint of. Let me ask you about T. Higgins on a contender right now. Are you concerned?
Yeah, but let me ask you about Derrick Henry on a contender right now.
Certainly. I was going to ask. Yeah, I was going to get there. I'm worried. I'll say I'm definitely, I think, I'm much more worried about T. Higgins as a contending asset. Now, in dynasty assets, I'm fine with T. Derrick Henry I've already been worried about for years. So I would say Jacobs is super interesting to pick him up, but not for a 20. I would say this even. I probably wouldn't even send a 27 first and Woody Marks in a 10 team right now for just Jacobs. Even if you tell me T and Henry are canceling out, which I don't think that they are. So I think I'm with you on the 27 first. Plus the one thing that also gives me, Mike, is the potential, allure value. The 27 class is just. People are in freak out mode, buddy. People are in freak out mode over this 27 class. And then, so we're on the same page there. We want the T side. And then where are we at on Woody?
Well, I know part of this too. I know Jacobs just came off a 30-point week against Dallas.
Sure.
But was I the only one that was a little bit concerned watching that game too? Just how much fucking Emmanuel Wilson was involved in that? And
I will say
Jacobs is just missing. I thought for a while there he was injured, but then he'd come back into the game, and then it's fucking Emmanuel Wilson during like crunch time. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I know up to that point he had a great game, but I was like, the fuck is this? Like, are they taking what they do with their wide receivers, their pass catching weapons, and now going to apply this shit to the running back room?
I don't think so. I will say the last 2 weeks he was in the 60% snap range when the prior 2 weeks was closer to 80s. They're going into the bye. I'm not really all that worried about it. I remember last year there were some times where we were like, hey, there was a lot more Emmanuel Wilson on the field than we wanted to see. I think they know very much that they know where their bread is buttered, so to speak. Like, I'm just looking, though, at their schedule. The next 5-6 weeks, goodness, they have some really good matchups here. I like Jacobs a lot, but I think this is too much to pay. Where are we at on Woody though, Mike? We did a little talk on 4D, a little bit about Woody Marks when we were doing a redo. So shout out to 4D Chess. Make sure you check that out on our podcast feed when it drops. We did a redraft of the entire 25 class. Like, where are we at on Woody? Because we did it relative to basically all the rookies. Where are you at with him holistically? Rankings, dynasty, or just, what's his value?
I'll say this was my chest, man, especially after us having that conversation and doing a redo. A little bit of an epiphany there. We'll talk about it some more on next week's episode on 4D as well. So check that one out. But confidently with my chest, sending on any contender that I have, any 26 second that I have for him.
Oh, definitely.
No doubt.
I think as we get into the episode, without giving it away next week, and we talk about it and we see what the numbers are, my gut's telling me they're going to be strongly that way. I'm with you. I would send a second, I think, for him. I think the reasoning too is, right, if you look at that situation, what just happened this week wasn't due to an injury, wasn't due. This looks like the guy that's going to take over their backfield, and it's not a fluke.
It's
really
been trending that way for 4 fucking weeks now, and then you finally got to realize it. Is it to say that he's like, you might fuck around and send a first for him?
I wouldn't. I'll tell you where he's at. He is
Same
at
boat.
he is at a range where I feel is this. A lot of players in Dynasty get to this part where it's like, okay, the role's there, the opportunity's there. I like what I'm seeing. In their younger player where, we were familiar in the draft, whatever it is, definitely worth a second. And you probably can't buy for a second. Or if you can, we would all be like, yeah, go get him. But then all of a sudden there's that massive difference between that second and that first. And I think a lot of players end up getting sandwiched in or stuck between, clearly you would send a second, no questions asked, but they never really get to the point of a true first. Now, you may see people send first in a bunch of leagues, but like by and large, as far as the consensus or what people think in Dynasty, most people are like, nah, I'm not sending a first. I think at the moment he's not there. I do think with him, though, similar to like a JCM, right? Now, JCM didn't play well the last several weeks, and the offense doesn't necessarily look as good as we hoped on a consistent basis. But if Woody Marks was to take and do exactly what he did last week in a higher degree, let's say next week, like you can see a world where most people would start paying at first for Woody Marks. But really for his type of, draft capital and profile, it's going to come at the production, right? If his production starts continuing to be consistently where it was last week, I mean, all bets are off. That's what people do right now in dynasties. They'll sell their soul for production. So if there's youth attached to it, buddy, you could go really high.
I think that's probably a good narrative, right? Like it's a good narrative. Let's just live in a world where next week he comes out and he's anywhere close to 20 points and 55, 60% of the snap share again. Where are we at then? Right? like now we have multiple weeks of this. We've had this trend of the build. We had the explosion last week. Oh, and look, he followed it up with a pretty goddamn good week, his next performance. I think all of a sudden now we're starting to talk like, dude, if you want him, it's got to be a first. It's got to be. Got to be, no question. I think now there might not be enough believers, so maybe that second, I might be too late to the fucking party on the second. And sometimes that's the way the dynasty shakes. Let me ask you, if the second isn't enough, what's the max you're willing to pay in draft picks? You can put 2 on there?
Probably not yet. I'll say this, right? And the reason is like that position, right? We think about the position as a whole. Skatabo's doing well. There's other players that you could think about, that you'd love to send a second or multiple seconds for. But my God, just think about the situation like Woody Marks. Let's live in a world, where was it, 2 weeks ago, right? Woody Marks was not even in consideration here.
No.
Not even, I'm just using that from the standpoint of like we had Aaron Jones playing. Like there's so many things that can take place at the running back position. To me, Mike, I've talked about this before, but I'm becoming even more rigid on some stuff like this, where if it's I would buy Woody Marks for a second or even a little more than a second, right? If it's serving a big purpose and I'm being intentional about like, okay, I have a specific need at like my running back 2 just died and he's going to be my only guy that I'm starting on a weekly basis, maybe there. But a lot of times I feel like keeping the draft picks, even seconds, multiple seconds, closer to the vest and trying to find a way to get the most out of your team at the moment is sometimes more optimal. People just end up kind of burning picks trying to get that because, like, what do we know about Woody Marks or anyone else on my team in the next coming weeks? There's going to be a ton more injuries. It's just the way it works. So for me, I'm probably a second if I can maybe get like a second and a third. But I don't think I'd send 2 seconds personally because, Mike, what can 2 seconds buy me later? Probably potentially 2 spot starts, right?
I got you. Let me ask you then. Let's rank some dudes, right?
Okay. Yep.
Woody Marks or David Montgomery?
I think I'll take Woody, but it's close as hell.
I'm on Woody.
I think it's really close, but I think I'll take Woody.
Okay. Woody Marks or Javonte?
Javonte as a contender right now is fucking hard to go against. I think I'll take Javonte on a contender. And let me ask you, where would you go there?
It's going to be pretty close. So I put Javonte, and I also put the guy that I tried to tout earlier in the season there, J.K. Dobbins, kind of in the same category. Now a little bit more sexier with Javonte because he doesn't have, R.J. Harvey.
There's no incumbent
looking over
for those that had Blue as that guy, right?
He's not that guy. He's just not that guy. Yeah, Javonte over J.K., but like Woody and J.K., I think I'd go with the Woody Marks thing for what you brought up because there's more meat left on that bone, right? There's more to go. When it comes to Woody and Javonte, man, I think I feel safer about the Javonte production, right? There's not as much risk, but also too there's no more meat left on that bone really on what Javante's doing.
Yep, I agree.
Like you're getting the production, so if you wanted to make that swap, like Adam, I think I might actually lean Woody on that one.
Really? Okay. I think when I look at that, right, I look at the upside and I look at the, to your point, more meat on the bone. I also look at a situation like that where while it was nice for 1 week, I think about the downside risk too, right?
I got you. Right. There is pretty big risk
on
that kind of move.
To your point, and I think about the way that you play, or everyone that's thinking about this question, think about the way you play and the way that you're likely to actually proceed. Meaning, how many trades are you going to make in your league? How many trades go down in your league typically? Now, if it's super active and you think you can kind of flip him when he has a big pop week, okay, I could definitely see going to Woody Marks and trying to do that. Let's say he was to continue to rise. But I think a lot of times, Mike, you end up getting a riskier asset with a Woody Marks. And what you're really paying for is thinking that you have a running back for 2 or 3 more years in Dynasty, which I think is super flawed logic. So if you're able to think you can move him, I think I get the case. But I think a lot of times if you're going to end up staying with the asset, the production and the role is a lot more safe with Javonte there.
All right, let me ask you then, 2 rookies, similar draft capital. Woody or Cam Skatabo rest of the season?
I think I'll take Cam because I think the offense is gross as hell in New York, but I think his role has kind of showed us that like there's probably not any going backwards. I don't think that there should be for Woody, but I want to see it a little longer at the moment.
Does it worry you at all with Cam Skatabo?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we didn't really see this big breakout until Tyrone Tracy got injured, and Tyrone Tracy was dominating snaps up until the point he got injured, right? In that game. I know the week before they split, it was almost right down the fucking middle there. They split the week before, but starting out that game until Tracy got injured, it was the Tracy show. Fucked up his shoulder. Then Skatabo took off, had that 24-point game. This past week with no competition, I mean low end RB2 was like what he delivered with Jackson Dart back there, which that part worries me just a little bit too, because especially with Jackson Dart back there versus Russ, like Jackson Dart ran so many fucking design quarterback runs and keeping the ball, and it was nuts. Yeah. So like the check down work just goes out the fucking window.
Yeah, I think
I'm not saying that it's Tracy's backfield, but when he gets back from that shoulder, is there enough concern that he's going to cut into snap share and it's not just this super dominant backfield for Cam Skatabo, especially with a quarterback who's going to be doing design runs and not doing a whole lot of checkdowns?
I'd say no. I think one of the things about rookie quarterbacks that come in, especially mid-season, is it's rare that you see them typically like completely faceplant because you don't have any film, right? So I think the way in which teams kind of approach and change the way they're playing against Jackson Dart with film is going to be interesting to see how they change. I imagine the offense doesn't always do what they did that week. And also, Mike, one of the things that's really going to happen, to your point, is if they keep doing this, man, they're going to be literally just pushing everyone up towards the line of scrimmage and say, fucking you guys, all these lack of weapons without Nabers, you guys beat us deep. So it'll be interesting to see. I do think, though, the one thing about it is if Jackson Dart does keep running like this, Mike, we see a lot of times where maybe the passing work does come down, but it really opens up potentially,
the running
game.
A little more read option stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
They got to account for the quarterback now.
Exactly. So I think Mike, I'm not super worried about it. I mean, obviously, yeah, when Tracy comes back, it'll be interesting to see how it works out. I still think it'll be a Cam 1A with Tracy 1B. I'm not trying to discount Tracy at all, but I do think Woody Marks isn't necessarily guaranteed to just take it and run. But I think it's close. I'd probably prefer Cam Skatabo. I think also one of the things, Mike, is Cam Skatabo, right or wrong, he's like this. People really want to buy into him, so I think the market's a lot hotter for him.
I think I'm going to lean Woody on this one. I think that's where I'm going to go.
I had a feeling you might with your question.
There's just some concerning things for Cam Skatabo, right? Like his advanced metrics, he's not very elusive. I know it's fun to watch him, angry run and, just mash people. First off, too, with the reel that Fizz sent me with Cam and Jackson Dart post game, like, I don't know what the fuck. Cam got hit in the head a lot when he was a kid. Like that, ooh, man. That's the kind of kid that you just beat up just from the way he talks. So I see why he's built and runs so angry. Like he seems dumb as a box of fucking rocks to me. But whatever, good for him. Mm-hmm. But his elusiveness not very good. His evaded tackles not very good. We know the explosive run rate is absolutely fucking terrible. I mean, he looks slower than piss, but he's getting work. He can catch the ball when they throw the ball to him, so that's a nice thing. With Tracy out, that's a plus thing. That offensive line run blocking, though, is still ass, super ass. Not that Houston's anything like super great, but if I'm just comparing the two backs, like I'm going to assume they both have most of the backfield. I would lean that Houston's offense is slightly better than what the Giants are going to be. I could be wrong on that one. But Woody Marks is a hell of a lot more explosive, in my opinion. Like, there's bigger ceiling play for it instead of just volume. So I think that's kind of what I'm going to go with. I think they both carry about similar risk, right? Like, Woody Marks feels riskier because it's only been one game, but we've seen this slow buildup. Could just be his.
Yeah.
I also saw enough concern with Tyrone Tracy healthy with Cam Skatabo to say this could be a muddied, gross backfield in the end of the day. So I'm gonna go Woody, but I don't say it with my chest. I'm super confident about it, right? I'm not planting my flag or anything.
No, that's fair. I mean, listen, I think both those guys are in the range where they're not, elite running back territory ranges, right? 20-ish, 15, 20-ish at the highest. So I think it's a preference play, honestly. Mike, you want to stay in the 10-team lane? I know you don't, but we're going
not really, but
for
fuck it.
Super Chat.
We got an over-under to hit about how many times I complain about 10 teams.
Half PPR, I know. Can send Rice and Brees for T-Mac. Oh, man. You got 10-team and T-Mac in the same one here.
God damn it.
So we got Tet. We got a 27 first and a 27 second. Would you send Rice and Brees for Tet, a first and a second? Worth the reset as a failed contender, no first, BTJ or London. Wait, I'm confused by that last part. But okay, let's start with the first one. Yeah.
Two different questions?
Yeah, Rice and Brees or Tet in a first and a second.
I think I might side with the Rice and Brees in a 10-team start 9 like this, right? Brees is good. It's concerning, but now we're going to miss Braylon Allen for a good chunk of time. A pretty substantial chunk of time. So that'll kind of quell some of that. And Brees will be back to, having all that backfield without why the fuck's Braylon Allen in there kind of moments.
Yep.
I don't think Isaiah Davis is good enough.
I think in a 10-team, even if Braylon Allen was playing, Brees moves the arrow. Like for example, in a 10-team, I care a lot more about running backs than I do in a 12-team. I still care about running backs in a 12-team, but in a 10-team, I'm leaning a lot more to the skill players in general, honestly. So I think here I'd probably stay just because I don't know, Mike. If you're a true failed contender, I would go to the picks, meaning it's already definitely over for you. But if you're not, if you're still kind of in the mix, I think I'd hold on to Rice and Brees personally.
Yeah, I think I'd stand pat on that one. I don't know if I want to send that, especially I don't want to leverage my 27 first and second already too.
With you. Worth the reset as a failed contender, no first. I don't understand the BTJ or London thing. You're saying would you rather have BTJ or London? I'd rather have London either, regardless of build, regardless of anything.
I wouldn't matter if I'm rebuilding, contending, have first, don't have first, you straight up between the two.
Yeah, they're both young enough. I'm just Mike. I want London regardless of build. Period. Right.
I mean, Drizzy and London was a conversation, or Drizzy or BTJ was a conversation before Brian Thomas Jr. started getting hospital balls thrown to him by Trevor Lawrence.
Before it got super ugly.
Yeah, that was already a conversation. They were within the range. I know a lot of people had Brian Thomas Jr., but it was the same fucking tier.
He says it's over for me. I had Burrow and Nabers. I mean, listen, if it's like
Cooked.
over for you, I might go ahead and get rid of Brees for a first and a second. That really would come down to this: can I get more for Brees if I liquidate both these guys? So that would be where I'm at there. I don't hate it either way.
Right.
12 team Superflex. We're back into 12 team, Mike. We're back into a normal half EPR. Trade away Mahomes for Nix and Olave. Olave isn't making me like super excited, but at the same time, like is netting a top 30-ish dynasty wide receiver worth just keeping, into the Bo Nix from Mahomes range?
Tearing down. If Bo Nix didn't have a fucking game, he better against Cincinnati's defense like he did this last week. But if he didn't have a game, we were going to start to have some conversations about this sophomore slump curse that seems to be plaguing everybody. So it's good to see the rebound. I think Mahomes has had a little bit of a mini resurgence here over the last couple of weeks too. Like the allure is starting to come back a little bit.
Well, and to the point, if there's a world, the only pushback I'll give is because there's a world where when Rashi's back and they have Xavier Word and they have all the weapons, you're gonna be pissed in 2 weeks, basically, right? Are you gonna be really pissed in 2 or 3 weeks? That's my only question. And this is a fair return, and it's probably a smart return if Mahomes doesn't get back to that range. I just don't know if I'm ready to net Olave. I don't know if I'm ready to not wait and see if that's there. You know what I mean?
Not to see if the Mahomes thing is real.
Yeah.
I get you. There's a little apprehension. I'm going to do it, but it's going to be reluctantly. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I do kind of want to fuck around and find out on this Mahomes thing for sure.
I'll tell you my tiebreaker, Maddox, is this. And a lot of times, Super Chats, any questions, if you give us as much context as possible. Like, are we starting 9? And if it's a start 9, is that looking like, hey, oh my gosh, the warp here is way to the quarterbacks? I think if that's the case, I'd probably hold Mahomes. If it's start like 10, start 11, start 12, we get to that point, I'm probably just going to take the Olave side because I'm going to need starters for bye weeks, frankly.
Yeah. We're getting into start 11, start 12, start 13.
You got to do it, right?
I need Olave and a flex. You know what I mean? Like, that's going to mean a lot more to me than whatever the fuck the Mahomes to Knicks thing is. Yeah,
that's a bar. Making sure I'm not crazy. Well, Tyler, you're maybe in the right place. I can't guarantee it, though, okay? We got a lot of crazy in here. I'm rebuilding. 12 team, Superflex, start 9. Mahomes, Rice, Waddle, or Burrow, Hunter, and a first. All right, so we got Mahomes, we got Rice, and we got Jalen Waddle. Or we got Burrow, Hunter, and a first. Mike, I'll be honest with you here. Let me ask you right now. Would you send a 26 first for Jalen Waddle, especially given the news and injury with Tyreek?
I don't know if I'm quite there yet because this guy has also just broken our hearts year after year after year, right?
Yes. I mean, this to me, though, is the one. This is the I don't say this isn't the one. Tyreek's been mid and hurt before. I think this is the best, the most clear opportunity in front of him. But I'm with you. I don't love it, but I probably would be willing to send it on the right build. So I think it's fair in value. Travis Hunter or Rashee Rice. I think at the moment with Travis Hunter dipping down in value, I'd probably lean Rashee. I think overall, Travis Hunter probably has the chance to surpass him when things get better. I just don't know when that will be for Jacksonville. Do you think it's close though between those two or no?
Yeah, I'd probably lean Rashee at this point, right?
With you. So here's the thing, Mike. Basically, if I could get the reason I wanted to do that, Mike. So if you tell me right now, Hunter and Rashee, they're close, but you'd rather have Rashee. Waddle and a first, they're close, but you'd rather have a first. Basically, if you're telling me those are clear equal assets, Mike, I think I would take straight up Burrow to Mahomes easily right now. So this side to me, this is the Mahomes, Rice, and Waddle side to me pretty easily. The only reason I wouldn't do this is if it's my first and my team is just like not a playoff team or not likely to be sure as a playoff team, right? Then I would maybe have some apprehension. But if you're truly a strong contender and you're gonna make the playoffs and have a chance to get a bye, I'm making this move for the Mahomes and Rice stack with adding Waddle in there for sure.
For Tyler's purposes, though, if you're rebuilding like this, I think the question becomes, where's that first? If it's a contender's first or this makes them a contender, like if it's their own pick, I'm probably not doing this one. But if it's, some other Joe Blow in the league who's, sitting 7th place right now and he's offering up this guy's first, fuck it. Fuck it. All right. Listen, I'm gonna go into Hunter, who's down in the toilet right now. Joe Burrow, who's injured, pretty much out for the season, and that pick, which I'm gonna bank on early to mid to early, or just mid in general, and just go. Yeah, I'll let you figure out whether Jalen Waddle can actually do it without Tyreek.
I'm with you. I think on the other side, I probably would take it. In almost any situation. Now, the one difference would be like if it's definitely a team going to get a buy or likely to get a buy if I make this trade to them, because I still want those mid picks. And I'm okay getting off of Mahomes points for this. Mike, we got one more. Oh, no, that was the last Super Chat. So keep the Super Chats coming if you want to, but we got Fizz in the building. We're glad you're here today. We got E in here, I saw. Let's fucking go. And we got Andrew. Busy season, so I haven't been around.
What up, Andrew?
But there's just no way in hell I couldn't stop in to say congrats to Mike on the weight loss journey. Keep it up, bro. You're absolutely killing it. Mike is, listen, he's shedding pounds like some people are shedding, contenders on their elite teams right now. It's tough, buddy. We're losing.
Well, I'm shedding pounds like I'm shedding contenders.
We're
my portfolio.
We lost a lot of good men out there, unfortunately. What would you sell Etienne for right now is a great question. He's an asset that's been very, I've not been the highest on since last year. He has been scary, but there's at the moment while Tutin's there and his presence is there, it's the snap share has been really Etienne's backfield. Are you willing to kind of buy into him in his situation at the moment in Jacksonville, and what does that look like?
So let me ask you, really, in all reality, what's the difference between him and Javonte Williams? Production or dynasty value?
Let me tell you this. I think the difference would be, I think Tutin, with the way in which they drafted him, would be the only difference. Meaning that I think there's someone potentially in the wings for them to go and pivot to if production was to dip for Etienne. That's probably the only difference, really, honestly. And they're pretty similar as far as production and contending value right now.
Etienne is just a slightly sexier version of Javonte Williams at this point. That's all it is. So if there's any kind of world where, we talked about Woody Marks, we talked about, J.K. Dobbins, Javonte Williams. If there's any kind of world where I can pivot to one of those guys and get a plus at this point, because he's slightly sexier, he's ranked a little higher on Keep Trade Guide, I think I'd do it. Now, if that doesn't exist and somebody's like, I'm just going to give you picks on a contender, fuck you, right? Like, I'll give you a second for him, or I'll give you a second and, a third, or no, I'm good, man. He means more to my team producing and fit in that RB2 role or possibly flex if I have a really good team. Mm-hmm. No, it ain't happening, boss. So I think that's where you just kind of need to be. And if you're on any kind of rebuilder, treat him just like if you had a Javonte Williams or you had a J.K. Dobbins. Like, fuck it, man. Like, I'll just take whatever. Right?
Yeah.
Like I would love to get a first out of him. Probably ain't fucking happening. Can I get 2 seconds? Okay, I can't do that. Can I get a second and a Bayshall Tutin? Right? Do we live in that world?
Oh, sheesh. That would be a smash.
Can I get a second and how about a couple of these rookie wide receivers who haven't done fuck? Right? Like Jaden Higgins. Can I get a Jaden Higgins in a second? Like, do we live in this world where I could do that? And I do that shit all day.
I can get behind it. I think on a contender, Mike, either way, I think I'd probably be willing to see at the moment. He's RB23 on Keep Trade Cut. You talked about Javonte. I'd rather have Javonte straight up, but they're 23 and 24. They're super similar assets. I'm just looking here on the lab, kind of scouring through to see if there's any deals where the selling side makes sense. I mean, I can't imagine this is very often, but Etienne went for Flowers straight up. Would love to have Zay Flowers for Etienne. Are you kidding me? Like, that'd be super easy. I've seen Mike, look, a 26 first, and Parker Washington. Mike, if he's anywhere near first, you can have him immediately. You can have him.
Would you attach a second to him for a running back who maybe gives you a little bit better production, but you think has a little bit more value insulation than Travis Etienne? So, like, what I mean by that is, there's people who have buried and put down Kenneth Walker, right? Like, would you attach a second to Etienne to go to a Kenneth Walker?
I wouldn't. I like the idea, and I definitely am willing to probably for a specific certain running backs. I think Walker to me is, especially with Charbonnet's presence and his injury history, I'm probably not willing to do it for him.
Okay. Breece Hall.
I would do it for Breece Hall, yes.
Okay. You think there's a little bit more insulation there with him?
Yeah, because here's the thing. I'm definitely not super Breece Hall is still a little worrisome to me. But to me, Mike, he's a player that realistically in Dynasty, I view as if he goes somewhere else next year, he's going to be in a good situation still. I think he's a talented enough back to where he'll end up being someone that you want to have even in a different situation. And I think right now, like to your point with Braylon Allen, we could look at him being really nice for the next few weeks.
And most of the time I won't do this, but let's just say hypothetically you did. You had an extra first laying around that you wanted. Would you attach a first to Travis Etienne? Like, what does that have to look like to up tier a running back? Would it be James Cook? Too low?
No, I think that's about right. I think, Mike, if you get me in the top 10 range, I would probably do it. Meaning,
so like James Cook, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon?
Yeah, I would. I mean, here's the only problem with that, right?
McCaffrey?
Honestly, yeah, these are all probably considerations, and I'm not. Here's what I would say for all those. I would answer yes, but this is a bigger part of the question before the player. Is my team actually a really good contender? Have I already got myself to 3-1 or 4-0? Am I good in points? Because, Mike, you know what any team has still, even though it's only going into week 5, we don't want to admit it. Dude, you could have an onslaught of injuries, and all of a sudden you're like, well, fuck. Even if the player you bought didn't get crushed, but buddy. If Malik Nabers and all these guys can CD get hurt the week prior, like there is a world where 3 players of yours or 2 at least all get hurt next week. And how serious is that for you?
There's definitely a dynasty team out there that had Trey Benson, Malik Nabers, and Tyreek Hill heading into the week. And fuck.
Yeah. I mean, not to mention is that team also kind of limping around with an A.J. Brown or something like that out there, and then you're really fucked, right? Like,
yeah, you're really screwed.
I think, Mike, if I could, in a scenario, hold on to my first, I would do that because I prefer to have my first in case things go awry.
Right.
And also I think the first right now are kind of devalued. So I'd rather hold my first. But to go from a second up to me is a lot more enticing.
I would much rather do the second thing, but people are going to ask and people are going to chuck around their 26 first. We're just trying to give the people what they wanted.
The reason why I think I would do that, Mike, is because if I'm going to go off my first for a player or if I'm just like putting my first into the mix, I probably don't want to consolidate to another running back, frankly, right? That's
and take on that risk, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Which is crazy because we talk about running backs, they get hurt all the time and they're so fragile. And, 2 of the most devastating injuries to this, most of the devastating injuries so far to this fantasy season have come with wide receivers, right? CeeDee Lamb being down.
Last year was the same thing. Last year was a fucking Nabers, onslaught. Yeah.
Fucking Chris Godwin. Do you remember Chris Godwin was killing it so badly in Warp? It was like 4 or 5 weeks after he hadn't played a fucking game. He was still up there.
I was coming back from the Guardians game a week or 2 ago, and I was telling somebody, we were showing them our Warp tool and stuff. They were asking questions, and I was like, yeah, I'm young enough to remember when it was week 9 after he'd been hurt for several weeks where we go to check the Warp, we get it rerun from Koopa. Chris Godwin's still sitting as wide receiver 1. He hadn't played in like 4 or 5 weeks. You're like, what's going on? Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's for Etienne pretty. We also have, for reference, I have Sharp on my team too, not Walker.
I get Sharp off my team.
Would you send, knowing this, would you be willing to send a second and Etienne for Walker?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people like to handcuff and then they got the whole backfield, so I understand that. I fucking hate doing it. If I were to send I personally would send a second to go get Kenneth Walker, but I'm a big Kenneth Walker truther. Yeah. And if I did that, then I'm trading Charbonnet, the first person that gives me a second for him.
The reason
really I walk out of it, I lost Sharps, but I'm going to look at it as I just sent Travis Etienne for Kenneth Walker straight up.
Yeah, I think I get your point there, and I know we've talked about this a lot with handcuffs. I view Sharps as a flex asset on his own. So I think the reason I would be willing to do this is because I still can have my cake and eat it too, so to speak. But if something was to happen to Kenneth Walker, it's similar to the handcuff where obviously Sharps now is going to be the option that probably gets a benefit from it, right? So I think I'd play him as a flex still if I could and have Kenneth Walker. But I know that now if Kenneth Walker gets hurt, I have Sharps that kind of pigeonholes into an elite asset for those weeks, right? So I think I'd be willing to do it in this scenario. There's a little more assurance that you have one of the 2 backs there, but again, for a second-round pick, that would be fine. We got a 12-team Superflex, 1.5 tight end premium, PPR, competing, 3-1 so far. Would you trade Penix in a 26-second for Dak? My QBs are Love, May, Penix, Gabriel, Flacco, and a Rich. Oh, and Wentz. Well, Flacco, you can get. I mean, listen, Flacco's not going back in unless there's an onslaught of injuries to a bunch of quarterbacks. I think it's over for him.
I guess I don't understand why. Yeah, why we're going to trade away a third quarterback, right? Because you feel like you have an abundance, and I'm sure now with Michael Penix kind of having a rebound after 2 weeks ago was terrible, the week before was awesome. Like, you're probably starting Jordan Love and Drake May almost every single week, but Penix is good enough where you have that conversation sometimes based on matchups on like who you're going to play. Like, it's a start-sit question. I don't want to add another quarterback to the mix, and especially when I have to add another quarterback to the mix and then add on a draft pick. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do that. As well as Dak is playing, Adam, I got Dak on a lot of fucking teams, but I also have Dak on a lot of teams where I have quarterbacks like Love and May too, and every single week I'm sitting there going like, which one of these fucking guys do I start, right? Like, it just becomes a headache. Dak isn't that clearly that much better where he's an auto start. You know what I mean?
No. Well, let me ask this question then. A couple things here, but I know where you are with Penix as far as, being probably ahead of consensus. Are you worried? And it feels like there's a lot of people in the community or just in general watching football that are kind of worried about what they've seen from Penix so far. Are you worried about what his staying power is, so to speak, in not just the dynasty market, but as like a starting quarterback for the Falcons?
No, not really. Not
Okay.
really. Like, I think this guy's brought a little bit different energy to the team as a whole. I know the Carolina game is going to stick in a lot of people because he looked awful, and then people were talking mad shit about him. But against Washington last week, it was like, this is what we saw in week 1, right? Like, there's probably going to – it's his first full year starting, right? He's still a young quarterback. We're going to go through some ups and downs.
Yeah.
But like the wow moments from him and the arm talent and the kind of the way that city like believes in Michael Penix, I think it says something, right? It's Atlanta. Like, Fizz can kind of attest to this because he brought it up, last year. Like Washington, so DC, Atlanta. Like, those areas are a little bit different, right? And if we're just keeping it 100 here, a lot of it's going to do with race, like racial makeup of the town. And what Fizz brought up last year was, if Washington ends up going with a Drake May, like, the town doesn't embrace him as much as they would Jaden Daniels. And you see how vehemently now they've embraced Jaden Daniels, and that's their guy. Atlanta's kind of got the same thing. Like, Kirk O'Chains was fun, you know what I mean? But he wasn't one of them. Michael Penix feels like one of them to them, like their city. And they're going to, as long as you got that fan support and they don't turn on you, right? The fan base doesn't turn on you like a Will Levis or a Russell Wilson where they're going to run your ass out of town. I like what I see from Michael Penix, right? And that's just kind of the outside of his play. Like, his play's been good enough. He's had enough wow moments where I believe in the staying power of it. And I think them as an organization see that he's the clear best option for them to win moving forward, which is why they switched over to him, at the end of last season, why this wasn't a competition about whether Kirk was going to get his fucking job back. They haven't even mentioned it.
No.
They're just keeping Kirk around as, listen, we need a good backup. Fuck, we're already on the hook for a shit ton of money. Nobody's giving us an offer to like get off of this where we want to eat this money. So he's kind of like we talk about with Javonte Williams on a contending team. He's worth more to us than he is to you fuckers, right? So he's gonna stay. We're gonna keep him on the team. So, I don't have any real concerns about Michael Penix staying power.
Okay.
Now, is he ever gonna have that elite fantasy upside? Probably not. But at one point, we didn't think Dak did, especially after that ankle injury when he's coming back. And Dak has it now just based on pure volume, just his ability to throw the football and that defense being shit. What if the Falcons end up in a pretty similar situation? Because the weapons are some of the best in the fucking league, like across the board, with Kyle Pitts kind of having a resurgence here. So I don't know, maybe we get in that situation with Atlanta where, Michael Penix doesn't run. He's not a rushing upside type quarterback, but shit, he might be a 4,000, 4,500 yard threat here within a year or two.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's well he by the way he says after their bye week Dak plays indoors outside of 1 week the rest of the year. So and here's what I was gonna say. There's a couple things that I would if I'm doing this right. I think for me with Penix, one of the things to keep in mind is for the community, the fantasy community anyway. This is a guy that nobody really thought was going in the top 10, right? So when we think about if he's having a struggle for the rest of the year, I think his market is kind of very polarizing. Meaning, some people probably are buying into him, but I think a lot of people really don't buy into Drake. To Drake May, they do buy into Drake May. They don't buy into Michael Penix necessarily as that great of a player, as far as his truly being a quarterback that's going to get a second contract and all that stuff, which is way early to say at this point. But the reason I think that what I'll be thinking about here if I'm doing this, you talked about Dak Prescott. I think right now, Mike, to your point, I think I would be looking at Penix as not necessarily someone that has, super high end upside. Dak, I don't think necessarily does until CD comes back, and we'll see how CD's moving off the high ankle. But I think we think that Dak could have that, maybe later on in the year. If I'm going to make this pivot, I think it's in a 4D move. I think a lot of people right now will look at their quarterback situation, and they don't typically want to move on from their two best. They kind of in a hoard, or if they have excess, they want to say, all right, well, yeah, these other ones are available, but they're not that desirable. So no one really comes and buys them. Or if they do, they feel like they're getting lowballed. If I was going to make this move and you feel better about Dak than Penix, I would be basically already kind of having my idea in place of, okay, does that mean I'm moving Jordan Love for a first plus now, right? Am I coming ahead basically by doing that? What I don't want to do, probably to Mike's point, is add a second in to my quarterback room just to make my start-sit decisions on a weekly basis a little more difficult. So I can get behind it if you're going to end up netting more back for one of these other two quarterbacks, for sure. If you're kind of a little more worried about starting Penix on a weekly basis. In a start 11, I just don't think I'd be willing to get rid of a second kind of to keep my quarterback room looking pretty much the same. So that's kind of the place I would be at, Dan.
And I like that. I like that aspect of it, right? Like if I were to do this and send Penix in the second and get Dak, the idea is Dak is now the unsexiest one of this quarterback room, but he's starting for me. Yep. And I'm going to make him start every single week because I'm going to go shop Jordan Love or I'm going to go shop Drake May and see what I can get. I'm going to get a third quarterback back who gives a shit, right? Just a dude, a fucking Sam Darnold or a Matt Stafford or an Aaron Rodgers.
He said, and even says he has Wentz and he has Gabriel. So right now, you don't have necessarily a surefire one, but you got, a several amount of weeks with those players.
But take the sexier quarterbacks now and then go see if I can add skill players to this to make my starting roster even better, right? Like I like that 4D move, but the original point, though, like if I'm doing this right now and I'm not making that move, I'm not adding a QB right now. Dak's like QB 14 in points per game. Jordan Love's QB 15. Drake May's QB 4. Like I'm not adding another dude in that fucking range where I got to sit here and go, who do I start now?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. So basically, what I'm saying is, if you're considering this, Dan, and you're kind of going to get Dak for the potential production with CD. I think I'm already kind of feeling out where I can get that move from. What's that going to look like?
In a lineup league, best ball changes this a little bit, right? Because
best ball I can take all three and just leave them alone. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, who gives a fuck? I want three really good quarterbacks. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm happily having Gabriel and I'm happy Wentz, all these guys. Fuck it,
Yeah, in a best ball league, fuck, I'll send Michael Penix in a second to go to Dak. Why not, right?
Ethan22 says, I love Ethan's questions and the way he starts it. I know it's Ethan's questions off the rip. 12 teams start 9, Superflex PPR, no tight end premium, 4-point passing touchdown. So, Mike, this boosts wide receivers and running backs quite a bit, personally, in my opinion. Now it's start 9, shallow, but 4-point passing touchdown. Herbert and Pearsall and a 26 first playoff team. For Lamar and a 26 middling second. Mike, Pearsall, Herbert, and a first full send for Lamar, or not anymore right now?
This would have been easier if Lamar wasn't hurt and could be out for a couple weeks.
It probably also doesn't present itself without that, right?
Correct. It's in the relative ballpark on a tier up in a start 9 that you would fuck yeah. Let me go to Lamar because of the WAR difference. Even though Herbert's been playing really well, right?
Yeah,
Even though
sure.
Herbert's been out there producing and running with the football, which has been good. But you're talking a 26 first. Ricky Pearsall's worth a first to a lot of people. Justin Herbert's, 2, 3 first. You're talking about almost 5 firsts in value to go to Lamar in a second, right?
Yeah, but
in a start 9, that it does make sense. It's a lot, but it makes sense. But with Lamar being hurt now, I'm like, I don't think I want to do this. Now you changed Lamar out for Josh Allen,
but
we're right back.
That's my point. Is basically, I think that the opportunity to buy probably is because of the injury. I think most often than not in a 12-team start 9, especially Mike 4-point per passing touchdown, it becomes you want the rushing gods, and everyone else is like not really willing to sell them. So that might be why this is available on the table. But even if that's the case, whether it is or not, you're saying right now you're apprehensive because of the injury, essentially?
Yes. And I know Herbert, he's already missing, an all-world tackle. And then now he just lost another one for, how many ever weeks. We'll see how long he keeps Joe Alt out with that high ankle.
I'm really glad, I will say at least, though, that it's not the season for Joe Alt. I mean, that would have really fucking been awful.
Yeah. Yeah, and these offensive linemen, they're tough. He looks like a tough guy too. So
high ankle may not be quite the same, but he'll still be pretty damn good with a high ankle, I believe.
I don't think there's a lot of analytics out there. We know high ankles for wide receivers and running backs suck, right? In running quarterbacks.
He may not be quite as elite, but he'll still be damn good. They'll tape it up. He'll go out there. He'll be fine.
He looks like a football player. He'll be all right. Yeah, I don't think I would do this. I don't think I'd do this with the question marks around Lamar and the hamstring thing.
Here's my other question.
A hamstring for Lamar means more than a hamstring for fucking Aaron Rodgers or Dak
I have a question for Ethan,
saying?
though. He says playoff first, and he says currently 2-2. Is this your first?
That's the other thing, Ethan.
Because here's the reason I'm asking this, right? You go to Lamar. And if this is your first, you go to Lamar. Right now you have maybe Drake May. Is Lamar playing next week? This week?
Nope.
Is he?
Nope.
Do we know?
No, it doesn't sound like he is.
I mean, my point is then you already got Nabers, right? So even if you bump Rome up, you got
Bucky's out this week.
You got Pearsall will be gone, right? So you've got, to me, it just looks like, listen, I think it's one of those plays where there's a reason I'm asking. If this is your first personally, I'm pretty hesitant. Even more so because you've already got a lot of injuries and potential injury risk higher now, right? You got more injury situation where, dude, listen, I've had some really good dynasty teams, honestly, miss the playoffs when you just get gaped, crushed with injuries. So, and one of the ways in which I think you kind of have, you really want to push your luck, buy another injured player when you're dealing with a lot of injuries and see how quickly that can fucking
double down.
Yeah.
Well, technically, if we look at the NFLs, technically the Cincinnati Bengals first is a playoff first right now. They are currently the 6th seed.
The Steelers are literally leading the division. I mean, look at that, right? They got Aaron Rodgers.
6th seed, so
talking about
maybe
flex
meant it that way. I didn't even catch that part too, but then look at what he listed, right? Bucky is in a walking boot.
But I'm saying Nabers is out for the year.
Today.
You could literally remove him from contending discussion.
Pearsall is out this week. He's not playing.
Well, he's going to be moving on from Pearsall in this trade. So, Mike, but here's the thing. You're going to have Marv, you're going to have Olave, and you're going to have Rome, and no other receivers listed. You're going to have Hampton, and Bucky's out this week, right?
Yeah. Feels like a desperation.
I think I understand the play. I do. But I feel like sometimes, even though you want to make this play, and Lamar's really hard to get, sometimes you got to be like, maybe now is just not the time. And
yeah.
I think I see a few reasons for that to be the case. Hopefully that helps. If you have follow-ups, let us know. Buy apple pie. Mike, do you want to buy some apple pie?
No.
Okay. I would take some apple pie. I don't know if I would buy it.
I'm laying off the apple pie these days.
That's true. Mike probably could afford a piece, but listen, when you're this locked in, you just stay right and true. Egbuka and Tet are top 10 dynasty wide receivers. Genty, Hampton, Judkins are top 10 dynasty running backs. 6 other rookie running backs in the top 30 of dynasty rankings. Warren's at tight end 3. How's that loaded 26 class looking?
This guy just stays with the trolling. Love it. Love it. But at least he's doing it live. I don't have to argue with him in the fucking comments.
Is this a troll?
Yeah. Yeah. pretty much.
Well, help me understand it.
Still mad that I said that the 26 class, it wasn't as bad as everybody was making it out to be. And crazy enough, as we keep going along in the college football season, it's not. So that's cool. It's fun. It's fun. Like it's nuts to me. Like I don't think anybody ever said the 26 class was fucking loaded, but said it was pretty decent.
No, I mean I think where this is, to me, why this troll is not working that well. Now, granted, timing, comedic timing is a big play, right? So
yeah, that's fair.
For comedic timing, if you went back and thought about this, man, 25 didn't look very great at all, buddy. 25 was kind of a poo-poo-y class. Maybe you think 26 worse of 26, which is fine. But Mike, you know what you just told me here? Do you know what this says more than anything to me? Remove the names. Do you know what this says? People like rookies that give you any type of hope. Do you know how many? These are all rookies we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So wait. So this time next year, you're gonna have all those players that are young and possibly doing something. You think, or by apple pie, do you see the future and you think no rookies will be producing at all for the entire year next year? So I don't know.
No, one of the original points on 26 and why I liked it, to his point, better than 25 was the quarterbacks, right? Because we only ended up with Cam Ward and Jackson Dart essentially at the end of the day, right? Like
which, crazily enough, to the point I just made, Mike, do you know Jackson Dart has jumped Cam Ward at trade cut?
Yeah. But 26, we'll just give you an update, right? Lenore Sellers still up there in first-round mock drafts. Cade Klubnik has fallen out, thankfully. I didn't think he was that good to begin with, but here we are.
She gone.
Fernando Mendoza, all of a sudden now is betting favorite for 101, which is fucking wild.
That doesn't sell. That kind of
Fortunately,
that makes 26 sound that great.
John Mateer in the Heisman race, right? Nobody really had that one preseason. I didn't see a lot of John Mateer in the first round talk. Now we got that. Dante Moore's out here balling, and of course Garrett Nussmeier, and let's not forget Sam Levitt is still getting first round consideration. Now, are all these guys going to go in the first round? Probably not. But
no,
Adam,
definitely not.
There's 6 of them. And, don't even let me forget, Carson Beck's had a fucking hell of a resurgence. That weird. Before the season last year, Carson Beck was like first quarterback off the board betting favorite. Fell out. But now he's back. Miami, playing well. Jordan Love at the running back position. Weirdly enough, I heard people talk about how much better Jordan Love was as a prospect than Ashton Genty. But Jeremiah Love out here balling too this last week. Right back up there. Nick Singleton has been solid. Jonah Coleman, I don't know if we're going to get first round consideration. I don't think he has the athleticism, but we're talking about probably a day 2 guy. Jonah Coleman's been playing really well. And then let's move over to the wide receiver position. Adam was supposed to be the terrible one out of everything. Jordan Tyson has solidified himself at this point, I think, as a top 10 pick next year. Like, he's going to be the first wide receiver off the board barring any kind of injury. Jordan Tyson is fucking ridiculous. Yeah. Probably the surprise because it's USC and we don't get to see these games a lot. We don't get to see those West Coast games. But Mekhi Lemon, holy fuck, man. Have you got to see this kid play yet?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, Mekhi Lemon. Talk about first-round buzz for him. I don't trust the Chris Brazzell thing. Like, I like the story. It's got the size, got the speed. It's Tennessee's offense, and I've been fooled by that. But there's talks about Chris Brazzell potentially being wide receiver 1. Then Denzel Boston's out here just fucking balling as well. So this is where we're at with the 26 class, and we're only a handful of weeks into the college season. We're just starting like major conference play now with room to grow, right? And as Heisman race kind of evens out, we start to get into more of the crunch time, the big money games. Dude, the hype for the 26 class is going to continue to grow. So anybody who's like buy apple pie, who's just shitting on the class, 7-8 months in without actually knowing what the fuck's in it, it's insane to me. It's kind of why, Adam, like you talked about all these 26 first getting tossed into fucking deals like they mean nothing. And then we're going to get to April and people are going to be fucking kicking themselves in the dick because they just gave them away for next to nothing.
Yeah, I think really though, and listen, I honestly, I do get it. I understand. And right now, like on paper, what we can actually say and project about the class, is not the greatest, right? But to me, the theory and the story here is this, right? Genty is a player that we all, the community loved all offseason, right? Just that we know that. But the rest of these guys, I mean, Judkins is a top 10 running back after having domestic violence come out of nowhere. He was going to go back to college. But there's a bunch of players here that you're talking about. 6 other rookie running backs in the top 30 of Dynasty rankings, right? This statement to me just says we want to chase rookies in Dynasty, right? So, Mike, to the point of this 26 class, whether you think right now it's bad, whether you think during the draft pick season, like when we're actually drafting, that they're undervalued, there's going to be a time in which the value bump happens. And if your league market just needs it to be a player, Mike, I'll hold on to them and draft the players and wait until this happens in 26 player picks. So one of the things that's just a tale as old as time is people want to have young dynasty players on their team, even if they think it's a bad class. Go look at 2022. Go look at any bad class you think that has been out there. Even if the asset is dead today, it had a window where it was a top 50, top 100. I actually did a big video on BDGE's channel if you want to check it out, kind of looking at the value of players, and a lot of them peak in their first and second season. Even if they're not that good, you still get a ton of value for picks that are being thrown away for nothing.
The one thing we're constantly going to do as a community is push up young rookie players every single time. Yeah. Harold Fannin. Harold Fannin.
It's true. How many good we got a super chat, and I will get to your question, Chandler. Sorry about I did skip one. Didn't mean it, but I will get back. How many good first-round running backs and wide receivers Dynasty? Are we talking for the 26 class, Jeremy?
How many good ones? Well, that's probably going to be remain to be seen, right? Like, we're going to have to do athletic testing. We're going to have to do fucking draft capital is going to be a massive thing, too, on how people perceive them, right? Like, on whether they actually get the draft capital or not. Who's actually like a superstar? There's not a lot of superstars in this class, but there wasn't a lot of superstars in last year's class either.
That's, I think, more my point, too, is actually, like, if you look at, Mike, you know what we should do, honestly? As opposed to having the disingenuous back and forth, we should do a research base, and we'll pull up maybe on 4D chess. We'll do it. We can look at like previous classes and where the players were tracking, right, at this time or in October and maybe closer to November. But a lot of times early in the college season, a lot of the players that are going to end up being really good and high picks, we don't even really think of anything of them yet, or they haven't taken a big leap forward where we think they're that great. But you can list how many people are, what we think are actually good players and running backs and receivers at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know if you go back and we just look at like Daniel Jeremiah's mock drafts from various time frames on like how the classes went, right? And that'll be a judge of like where the consensus was on some of these players in the first round as they went. And I'm telling you, at this time last year, there wasn't a lot of like, Ashton Genty's a first-round running back. We know that. But then you started looking at some of the other things and you went, damn, like Carson Beck fell the fuck off the map. Like, who's going to be QB1 of this class? It was not Cam Ward at that time.
Sure. Well, Shedeur
was still up there. Yeah, still highly thought of. But then you looked at wide receivers and it was like Tet. That was about all you had.
Yeah, I think it would be a good actually get the numbers, get the stuff from, let's say, the same time period, October, whatever date, and have a discussion on it. But which ones right now? 26, and then we'll go to the other question.
Like these are just my personal favorites, right? Like at the quarterback position, it's obviously for me
running backs and wide receivers dynasty. That's all we're asking for.
So let's go to the running backs. Nick Singleton, Jeremiah Love.
Yeah, to me, good is relative, but if you're talking about ones that I really like, it's those two, period. Yep.
Wide receiver position, Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon.
Yep, definitely.
And Denzel Boston.
I was going to say
Denzel Boston.
All right, I was going to say Boston, again, relative word, good, but I really like Denzel Boston too. I was going to put him in the mix.
One that not a lot of people like, he gets overshadowed, but he plays for the Ohio State, Carnell Tate.
Yeah, I'm with you there too.
Well, Carnell Tate.
Egbuka got kind of overshadowed a little bit for times too.
Carnell Tate, that's kind of funny you bring that up. He reminds me a lot of how we overshadowed Emeka Egbuka and how we overshadowed before that Chris Olave when Garrett Wilson was there.
It's a crowded room often, but yeah, I'm with you. Again, though, that would still be, even if we included all those names, that's 6 people. So, there's reasons to say that you're not all that excited for the class. I'm talking more so, even if you say that you're not excited for the class right now, I'm talking about the inherent pick value in the way that I like to play it in Dynasty. So, anyway.
I think you might have one at the tight end position too. This Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon is just a fucking freak, man. Like an absolute unit put together and enough production to make you, oh, wow, he's kind of interesting.
Keep the questions coming. Keep the super chats coming. We'll kick it for a little bit more here, and then we'll probably bounce out though in the next 10. Oh, you know what? Actually, if you got a super chat, get to it because we still got to do
giveaway.
We still got to get the giveaway. Spin the wheel. Yeah, we got a couple people ready to buy and try. 12 team Superflex, 6-point passing touchdown and rushing TD. Would you trade and complete rebuild? Wait, what? You think I can get more? Trade Mahomes, Bucky, and Debo for Dart and Judkins. On a complete rebuild, would you move Mahomes, Bucky, and Debo for Dart and Judkins?
Complete rebuild. So he's trading Mahomes, Bucky, Debo for Dart. No, I'm not fucking doing
definitely this. Not. I think there's a couple. I think just value wise, right? I look at it. Bucky's still ahead of Judkins. Mahomes is still ahead of Dart in a vacuum. Mm-hmm. Okay. One of the things though, if we said this was even a little bit closer. To me, in a rebuild, I never want to go consolidate for player like this, right? Like basically, if you think about this, Debo's getting added into the mix here, right, as a third player, and I'm getting two very ascending players in their rookie situation, right? Like I'm getting Judkins at his peak, nearly his peak in Dynasty Value, probably. I'd imagine this is Dart's peak in Dynasty Value, and I'm consolidating. When typically in a rebuild, I need to multiply assets. So I think from a holistic standpoint, that's why even if this was closer, I still would say no.
Right. Like Mahomes ahead of Dart. And even if as big as like a truther I am on Bucky and Judkins, right? As big of a truther I am on Quinshon Judkins, I'd say a lot more people are still going to be way more excited about Bucky. So it's like, why the fuck am I adding another piece to this on a rebuilder just to go to the youth? You know what I mean? Like I do want to get off Debo, no question. But if I'm doing this instead of like, there's got to be a piece in the deal where it feels like I'm up tiering in Dynasty Value and getting the youth. You know, like it can't be Quinshon Judkins. That has to be fucking Amari and Hampton, or it has to be Ashton Genty. You know, something along that ilk where it goes, now I'll add Debo to it because I am taking a Dynasty Value loss from Mahomes to Dart.
Right. I mean, even Bucky to Judkins, I mean, even if you want to say it's even at best, like it's not a guarantee that you're getting a better dynasty asset. So yeah, Chen, I would stay away from this one. I think I'm okay consolidating at times, but again, like if you told me these are liquid picks, right? If I'm getting right now, you're getting players that are being valued for over a first round pick, and they also have their ability to go down. They're not as value insulated as a draft pick would be. Okay, pick-wise, what would you think you would need in return? So, Mike, with that same question, right? So we're moving off of Bucky, Mahomes, and Debo. I mean, you're talking, dude.
First plus.
Well, yeah. For those three? Jesus. Mm-hmm. I mean, dude, what's Mahomes cost right now? If you're liquidating.
Like I understood it as
you're like what picks on top of those players?
I'm talking on top of those players. So you wanted to do just straight picks? Jesus Christ!
I think this is more of a value, giving a value number to the package is the way I'm looking at it.
Something close to 3 firsts for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, Mike, I think I could move off of Mahomes if I'm getting at least 2 firsts and a plus, like 2 firsts and a second or something. I think the days of him in 3 first territory might not be there anymore, but he's probably between 2 and 3 firsts, you know.
So call it 2 firsts and a second.
Bucky a first
and a second at least.
Would you move off of both of them for 3 firsts and a second?
Now you're talking, and then just. Give me another second for Debo.
There you go.
3 firsts, 2 seconds. You can have the package.
And I think that's kind of being not overly aggressive.
Light.
Like, yeah, you're not asking for the world there. I think that's about right. Now to that package, Mike, if you had a first in there, if it's Dart, a first, and Quinshon, would you make that trade now?
That's a little bit more like what I would do in a rebuilder. Yeah.
There you go. I'm with you there. I think you're probably about a first off from the package there. And if they'd rather keep the players, which a lot of people tend to want to liquidate and just move the picks, especially with the stuff going on in the chat right now, I think I would need at least 3 first and a couple seconds, to Mike's point. But the reason that I would need that, right, is sometimes when you move these players individually, you'll end up finding you're getting better than a package. So just make sure someone isn't trying to just screw you on a package, right? So if you could move Mahomes for 2 first, and let's say you can move Bucky for a first and a second, and Debo for a second, you'll get back to the same point we just mentioned. But a lot of times in a package, people try to kind of nickel and dime more out of you, and you find out that you took way less than you should have.
Right. Man, this fucking nuts. This 23 thing got me. This 26 class thing got me. I just pulled up a mock draft here from Draft Countdown, which shout out to my guy Shane Hallam. He used to work there for a while, right? Do that quite a bit. We got 4 quarterbacks in the first round in this one. And then I'm sitting there going, okay, now what are we doing for skill positions? We have Jordan Dyson, obviously, in the first round. Kenyon Sadiq has a top 15 pick.
Yeah, someone actually just put Sadiq in the chat here.
Jeremiah Love up there, top 20 pick, went 17. Nick Singleton also in the first round. Cardinal Tate, let's go. We got some Cardinal Tate love in the first round. And Chris Bell and Jacoby Lane. So we're talking, 4 quarterbacks, a tight end, 2 running backs, and 4 or 5 receivers in the first round of a mock draft. Call me fucking crazy. Seems pretty decent to me.
Well, I mean, I can't speak for Bible Pie for anyone, but I think people would call you crazy for sure. Okay. I think Mike, while that would also be a good piece of content to try to do. I also think that the idea of just do you believe in rookie fever or not at the end of the day, right? I think that's the bigger question too. Like, do you think the class? This is my question, like kind of rhetorical. Do you think the class is bad enough in talent that everybody in this game is going to like throw all of a sudden play very logically with the way that they value and think about players and assets that are young like that? All right, super chat, and then we'll get to the last. Spin it. 12 team start 10. Sorry, super flex. Not sure what the L stands for, but L. 0.5 PPR. 4-0 on a contender. Inbox offer. I have Nabers. They send Rice and Pickens. Ash for Genty and Pickens might blow up the trade. Thanks. I mean, I would take Genty and Pickens for Nabers for sure. I don't
pretty easily. Oh, L for lineup. See?
Lineup.
Fuck Falco on it.
Look at that, man. Lineup. See? Mike, that's the first time I've actually seen it put into the
smart
mix like that. It does.
Like
it is smart. And I like that Falco cleared it up for us. Appreciate you.
Falco.
Shane Falco. That's all I think about every time I hear Falco. How could you think of anything else? I think. Would you do it for Rice and Pickens? I'm not sure. Start 10.
Rice and Pickens feels a little. Maybe.
I think this comes down to, if you believe in Rashi, you should probably smash this. If you don't believe in Rashi, I think I'd hold back. I'm actually kind of in the middle. I kind of believe in him, but I'm kind of still wanting to see it. This is why I talk about sometimes for me with a guy like Nabers, you got to ask yourself, right? Like you said, you would liquidate for 2 first, and is that right? 2 first and a second, right?
2 first, yeah.
I mean, well, here's the thing, right? Would you send 2 first for Rice and Pickens?
Yes, you would.
And that's where I think we got to have the conversation about Nabers. And for yourself, whoever, anyone answering this question or thinking about this question, do you think Nabers could move for more than this, or do you think you would prefer a package different than this, right? So to me, it's like, if you believe in Rice, this is an easy smash. If you don't, I think I'd hold out, and I think I'd be able to get something different. But if you believe in Rice, this is probably as good as it's going to get. I think you have to have the conversation and be real about the fact that you're probably not going to get into the elite tier mix anymore at receiver because he's hurt, right? So if you're trying to do that, you probably aren't going to get that. If you're willing to go to like a top 15 guy like this, I think you can definitely get a pretty nice return.
If you could get the Genty and Pickens thing, holy shit.
There's no way you will, though.
No, I would do.
There's
on
no
a contender,
way
I would do Nabers straight up for Genty at this point.
Yeah, I think that probably would be a happy middle ground. But to your point, Falco, a lot of times This is why I like the ATM too, because I've seen people that blow up a trade by just asking something back. So I'm not saying I would do the ATM here. I just think that the Genty and Pickens as an ask is too far. Yeah.
What if you did the ATM and instead of Genty or whatever, you asked for Rice, Pickens, and all this dude's fab?
Sure. I mean, it probably depends on like how many bench spots you have, and if the wire is anywhere near decent on a weekly basis, for sure. If it
doesn't mean as much in a lineup league as it does to us in a basketball league.
Exactly.
But still, there's going to be championship week, spot start running backs. You fuck, God, Derrick Henry's out.
I think whatever. I think I'd rather ask for like a second or something. Like if I'm going to ask for something that's inconsequential, I'll test the waters on like people think 26 is that bad. Well, seconds are obviously dead. So,
but you still know how valuable that fab can be even in a lineup league. Let's say he makes it into the playoffs. We're in the semifinals. The dude's backup quarterback just went down. The dude's quarterback, superflex quarterback just went down. His backup's sitting on the waiver wire. Even though I might not fucking need him, there's something to be said about, hey, we're in nut cutting time in the playoffs. I got a bigger fab budget than you. I'm picking every quarterback up off the waiver wire that you could potentially start against me just to sit on my bench. Like the minute games kick off, I'm cutting them just to be a dick.
Yeah, this is something. Again, I'm excited to get an offseason pick up highly detailed again. This is something I talk about in highly detailed, and I think is actually really good. DB, right? He's someone that plays very rigid and has a great process, and he thinks a lot analytically. But Mike, sometimes it's just, hey, get out of your comfort zone, send a bunch of trades out. Maybe counters come back you don't like, but I think a lot of times if you just be the aggressor and you, in essence, basically kick up activity, you'll find that you'll get a deal done at some point. So love hearing that. Speaking of which, Mike, we got some giveaways. Well, we have a drawing, right? So whoever wins that entered in the merch channel, the large Royal zip up, we'll get to that, and whoever wins has a chance to press their luck. So hopefully they're all here. We haven't done this yet or haven't talked about it, Mike. If someone wins and they are not here to press their luck, do we just give them the bye? What do we do there?
That's tough. That's tough.
Hopefully we don't have anyone tested out, but I know a couple people that are in this, and I feel like some of them I normally would see in the chat. So we'll see. Let's just figure it out,
I think we have to default to you stand pat, right? You don't even get the option to press your luck to
okay, you just get you just get the item. All right.
To really rake Adam over the coals. You know what I mean?
That's far. That's fair. I mean, that's fair. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, ready or not, you ready to spin and see who wins, right?
Let's rock, baby. Blitz, right. El Gancito, Rippin.
We got Rippin, we got Vigels, we got Blitz, and we got El Gancito. And then we've got dead space. The dead space means, listen, it's unfortunate, but this is trick or treat. We're in Halloween now, right? So I'll have some kind of a little promo video at some point throughout the week, but we're getting into spooky season, and while we were hoping someone won, there's always a chance someone doesn't. So let's spin it. Ready?
Let's rock, baby. Can't root, though. Can't show any emotion on who it lands on.
Unless it lands on no one wins, then I'm happy.
You're happy.
All right. Jay Jackson. Jay Jackson. DB says the wheel is sick. Appreciate you, buddy. Oh, and speaking of the wheel being sick, it's went away. Okay, there we go. We got it back. It was
back up.
All right. So Jay, are you with us? What would be great? Jay is one of our longest patrons. I don't know if he was there from day one, but it feels like that. Wouldn't it be just like Jay to when he finally wins, he's just not here with us?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the first time ever. He's not in here making a crazy comment.
Yeah.
That would be par for the course.
We'll give him a little time, but you know what I say. You know what I think we should do, Mike? I just thought about this. We reveal what they would have won, but they don't get it. Like if you would have spent the 35 to spin the wheel on the pressure luck,
gotcha.
We'll see if you want it, if you would have gotten it or not. But you got to be here to say if you want it.
That's fair. I like that idea. Right.
We'll spin it once. But now here's the thing. If you don't have to press your luck. So if you're here and you don't want to press your luck, you don't have to. You could just take this and be done. No 35 for the extra spin. But
maybe you just wanted the bag anyways.
That's exactly.
Fuck them shoes.
See, you get it.
I don't need them shoes.
Maybe he's just not a shoes guy. Yeah.
Might already have a hell
more
of
a New
collection.
Balance or a Monarchs guy.
I like that. Sounds
Jay,
good.
are you really not
Listen,
here?
I don't think he is.
Damn it. Now I feel like I don't know if I want to do that. I feel bad. I don't know that he's going to win, but come on, Jay. You guys are ruining it.
No one's going to have as bad of a beat as Cameron Myers on the draft stream.
Yeah. I mean, but that's all. Mike, that's not saying much. I mean, the guy missed out on winning an autographed helmet that didn't cost him a dime. I mean,
no, looks good in our man Dr. B's basement, though.
You know what? As a matter of fact, though, Mike, you just reminded me. Listen, shout out to Certified Shit. Let's see if this will come up here or not. There it is. Certified Shit. Courtesy of Certified Shit. This will be a giveaway at some point this month.
Look at you,
Chris
man.
Godwin, man. Extra large, right?
That's dope.
The 76 white creamsicle jersey. So that one will be, speaking of free giveaways and our partners over there. I got that for you. I'm be honest with you, buddy. I really strongly
want to wear that.
Well, yeah. There's terms of, you got to give it away. It's part of the deal, but it's tough,
It's tough.
So that one will be a part. I'll put it in here at some point during the week for Fanatics sponsor giveaway. All right.
I don't think he's showing, buddy. I think we call it.
All right. We'll get out of here.
Spin that one. Let's figure out whether or not he would have.
All right. You want to do it? All right.
Yeah.
Jay.
Do it to him.
$35. We would have need up front, but here you go.
It's a rock.
There's a chance for a couple other items in here too. This is basically trick or treat. That's what we'll be doing for the month of October here.
I like it. Nice theme, buddy.
No. Oh, buddy, you're so screwed. Look at that. I'm sorry.
We wasted the good surprise on you.
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, man. That's tough. That's really tough. There's a pair of rare airs. Should have been his. I don't know if they were his size or not, but Jay, next time I'm sure he'll be here. Love you, buddy.
Sure.
But I don't know that it'll be a next time, by the way, right? I mean, geez.
Tough.
That is tough. All right. Well, let's get up out of here with this stupid. Why is this button not going away here? All right. Well, Jay, claim your prize in the merch channel and be sad that you weren't here to get the kicks. Jay's good for it. We'll see. We'll talk to the kid. We'll have our discussion.
Hey, it's not like he walks away empty-handed.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely not. We'll
sweet piece of swag. Gets a bag.
We'll have to have a. We haven't necessarily made a complete ruling on this. I think that's been made for at least this time, but we'll have to have a discussion moving forward for what we do, if you have to be there or not. And we'll talk to Jay, though. All right? So appreciate everybody. If you want to be a part of the merch drawings that we have a merch channel in the Patreon. For $1 a month, you get in the door. All kinds of different sweet things that you can get from our Patreon. You want to be part of the trade show, go over there. You want to be in the merch, all the stuff that we have going. This is where you'll do such. Patreon.com/South Harmon. Bunch of shitheads in the Patreon in here right now. So trust me when I tell you, we are always having a blast and always having fun in there. But Mike, that's really all I got, man. Anything for you before we get out of here?
No, buddy. No. Good show. Just a reminder, we do have podcast feed exclusive content out there.
Great call.
You're not going to see it on YouTube. 4D will be out Friday morning. And by Friday morning, I mean at motherfucking midnight. Make sure you go check that out. Good discussion we had. We recorded it this afternoon, so that baby will be up on Friday. Redrafting the 2025 class. Funny that By Apple was in here so we could talk about it on how you would redraft that class. And then next week's follow-up to that. Adam, we might have figured out what we're doing with all these second-round picks out here that we just value just a little too much. But we're going to find out next week on 4D Chess, so make sure you're checking out the podcast feed. We got everything on there. College fantasy, waiver wire show from Eric, Koopa dropping shit on Saturdays. God damn. That's a big brain he's got on his head. But yeah, check out the podcast feed. Anywhere you get podcasts.
He can pass.
And he can pass.
So appreciate everybody. We will see you back here, same time, same place, next week for AMA. And we hope, we knock on wood, that we can stay healthy, more healthy, this next week. We're out of here. Peace.